Welcome to this briefing on your core assessment or portfolio of evidence. I'm going to be helping you through compiling this portfolio of evidence and then being proved competent and earning your credits for this core program. So let's take a look at what we need to do in order to prove our competence in order to earn our credits. So the first thing that you need to know is this portfolio of evidence is going to be sent in either electronically or by courier to the NQ Plus team. They are the team that will be looking after your assessment and also engaging with the moderators that will be going through your portfolio. So these are their contact details. Nolan and Innocent are the two guys that are responsible for the assessments, and so there are their details if you need to get hold of them or if you need advice or guidance in being able to fill in the knowledge questions and put together the summative section. The summative section is just you proving that you are capable of managing a team. By proving that, you earn yourself credits towards a full qualification. And we'll go a little bit further into that. But these are the guys that are going to be involved in that assessment. There is also the address where if you are going to courier your portfolio, this is where it needs to be couriered to. So why should you do the portfolio? What are the advantages of going through this process? Well, the first thing is that it's a great step towards a full qualification. You'll be earning credits towards a full qualification on this program. And so you don't have to do exams, you don't have to do tests. It's really just about showing that you can apply the concepts that you've just learned into your everyday work environment. If you can do that, then you already start to gain fantastic credits towards a full qualification. It shows that you understand the theoretical as well as you are able to apply those theories or academics into your everyday work environment. And so that is a fantastic way of being able to prove it. We don't need to see massive projects. We don't need to see exams. We just want you to show that you are able to apply the concepts that you have just learned. It's really good for your CV. It helps in the hiring process. When people see that you have done a supervisory or first line manager program, they are more open to putting you in charge of a bigger team, and shows that you have got something behind you that will help you up the ladder. Also remember that these credits are not just going to be used in South Africa. They can be used in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, most of the Commonwealth countries. And so any place that uses an NQF level, they will acknowledge your credits and they will then be able to transfer your qualification into that country. And so it becomes a fantastic way of making you more mobile in terms of your career. If you are able to achieve this, if you get your skills program and you are able to complete your assessment, your portfolio of evidence, you then can get yourself a certificate of competence. When you finish a learning program, sometimes you get a certificate of completion. Now, that's not going to earn you any credits. It's a certificate of competence that you want to get. And if you finish this summative assessment or this portfolio of evidence, then you gain credits towards that qualification. You also get the certificate of competence, which means a whole bunch more than any kind of unaccredited training. You can use it towards bigger qualifications. So if you start with a skills program, then you can move into a learnership, you can get yourself a diploma, you can get yourself a degree. And so it really starts your development process. So this is a great start in a lifelong learning and towards getting even bigger qualifications. Also remember that your credits never fall away. If you do the skills program now and you do a learnership in 5 years or a diploma in 10 years, all of those credits stay under your profile. So the South African Qualifications Accreditation Team, they have a framework, and everything that you've earned that is accredited stays on that framework, and you can use it at any point in your lifetime and your growth and development cycles. So use it whenever you want. Then remember that again, you can get those credits, and those credits are aligned to an NQF level. So when you finish matric, you get a certain NQF level, which is a level 4, and then you can specialize in a certain discipline, which you are doing now in management, and you are doing a level 4 process in management, and then you can go to level 5, and level 6 is diploma level, and level 7 is a degree level. So you go through the levels, showing that you can understand that discipline and you are able to apply it. So what are the do's and don'ts about your portfolio? So in your portfolio, please make sure that you have an ID that is less than 6 months old. Rule of thumb, make sure that you have a certified copy of all your official documents every 3 months. But with this portfolio of evidence, please make sure that when you submit a certified ID, that it is younger than 6 months old. Also, please do not use pencil in this portfolio of evidence. It shows that it can be altered, and therefore they will not accept it. Don't make yourself have to do more work than what you need to. Start with pen. Don't use pencil. Also, please don't use a red pen or a green pen. They are used for assessment and moderation. Use a black pen or a blue pen in order to fill in your portfolio. Otherwise, if you do it electronically, you are just going to make sure that you have signatures, and that will be spoken about a little bit later. Please don't use Tipex. Tipex is never a good idea, and also it can mean that your portfolio will be rejected because, again, it can be altered. And so don't use Tipex in your portfolio. Also, please make sure that all the dates and signatures that are required are on your portfolio. There are going to be spaces where your teammates or your manager or mentor needs to sign. Please make sure that throughout the whole of the portfolio that there are no blank spaces next to signatures. There are also places where you need to put in objectives, and so those objectives need to be SMART goals. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and have a time frame. So wherever there's something that says objective, make sure that there is something next to it that refers to the goal of that implementation or the goal of the plan that you're about to perform. So make sure that there are no blank objectives, but that you put a SMART goal in that space. If you are going to use blank pages, and so many times we use blank pages to fill our portfolio, if we have addendums or attachments at the bottom of that, please make sure that you sign and date each page. It's really good to be able to go through your whole portfolio and make sure that there are dates and signatures on each page, just so that you are covered. Then a very important thing. If you ever have remedial or we ask you to adjust any of your answers, please make sure that you have a copy of your portfolio. So you might be able to make a paper copy, just print it out and keep it safe, or you can scan it into your system. Because if you do get remedial, then it makes it so much easier for you to go back and to be able to alter your original answer. You know what you have answered, and now you can make corrections. So it is so important to have a copy of that portfolio. Also, if anything happens from the courier side, you are covered. Because if you lose that portfolio and have to do it again, that's a heck of a lot of hard work that you've just lost. So make sure that you have a copy. Please make sure about that. All right. Now, this is known as your briefing. I need to give you all the information of how to put your portfolio together, all of the compliance things that you need to know, and to give you an idea of the assessment process. So there is a briefing checklist. Please make sure that once you have finished with this video, that you go back to this page and that you tick everything that I have spoken about. Okay, so they'll give you a whole bunch of concepts that need to be covered in the briefing. Please tick next to each concept that I've covered, and then at the bottom, would you sign and date? That makes sure that you know how to put your portfolio together and all of the specifics around the submission of your portfolio. All right, on the front page of your portfolio, it's normally a yellow page. If it's electronic, then you'll see that it has this look to it. Please make sure that you fill in all the fields. They'll have learner's name, manager's name, core facilitator, when you participated on the core program, and then when your assessment is required. So when you have your due date. And your due date is always 3 months from when you have completed your formative section. So once you have gone through the material and you've gained the knowledge, you then have 3 months to submit this assessment or your portfolio of evidence. Okay, underneath that, you'll see that it says attempts. Do not worry about that. That is for the assessment division. That is for the moderators. Anything below the due date is for the assessment division. So don't put anything there. Also remember that you have 3 attempts to be able to submit this portfolio. After 3 strikes, then you are going to need to attend a support session, but we'll go into that a little bit later. So let's talk about your first attempt. And this is the attempt that we want all of you to be competent in. So give it one shot, do your best, go through the checklists, engage with your assessor, and then normally you are going to get through it in your first attempt. So when you put in your first attempt, so remember you've now completed this, you've had 3 months to complete it, you now send it into the assessors. The assessors have 20 days to assess your portfolio of evidence. So 20 working days from when they receive it to when you are going to get feedback on it. If you are found competent in your first attempt, then it goes into a moderation cycle. That is moderated by the seaters, and at the end of the moderation, they then give you the certificate of competence. And so give 3 months from when the assessor gives you your competent or not yet competent, okay? So if you are found competent, you then have 3 months that the seater has to do their thing, and then you shall receive your certificate of competence, okay? Once you have received your certificate, then SACA will do what they need to do, and you will get a statement of results. So it's a long process. 20 days for the assessment, 3 months from there for the moderation and for your certificate of competence, and then another 3 months after that for you to get your statement of results. But you will get emails that show that you are competent, so you can use that if you want to build it into your CV. Okay, so remember that. Keep all the correspondence that you get from the assessors. So what might happen is that some of the questions are not exactly spot on, and you will have a second attempt to then put those things together. So any kind of questions that are not yet fully competent, you will get something called remedial work. Then you go back to your copies of your portfolios. You make adjustments to those answers, and then you send those back to the assessor. Now, you can do that via email. Just always make sure that any kind of adjustments or remedials also have your signature and the date at the bottom of those answers. And so then once those are back with the assessor, the 20 days kicks in again. So there are 20 days for the assessor to give you feedback if you are competent or not yet competent. Once you've been found competent, so if that's on your second attempt, again, there are 3 months that the moderation cycle gets kicked in, and then you might get your certificate of competence. So it is a lengthy process. We want you to be able to get your assessment fully competent by the first opportunity. If it goes to the second opportunity, then make sure that you lean into your assessors so that you are 100% confident that you have it right. If that is not the case, you have one more attempt. So that is attempt number 3. So attempt number 3 is one that is very critical. So if you have not been found competent on attempt 1 or attempt 2, then you have a last chance. And so again, remedial will be sent to you. You can email it back. Remember the signature and the date. If you are not found competent after your 3rd attempt, then there is a support session that will be scheduled with you. That could come at a price. And so we don't want to put you in that position where you might cost your company some money. So rather make sure that attempt 1 is the one that you are going to get through, that you are found competent. But use the assessors, they are your resource. You need to make sure that you are 100% confident, and then you can submit your assessment. Okay, but remember, if you are found competent after the 3rd attempt, the same thing will apply. 20 days of assessment, 3 months of moderation, and then you'll get your certificate of competence. There is also now a checklist. So if you go into your portfolio, there will be a page that says submission instructions. This is a checklist to make sure that you have fully and comprehensively finished your assessment. So it will give you all of the things that have to be there. So go through it, then you can tick what is already in your assessment. If there is anything that you have left out, it gives you time to be able to bring it all together. Give us a full comprehensive submission the first time. So go through all of those little checklists and make sure that everything is there. While you are gaining the knowledge, you are in something called the formative phase. And so you will do you will do exercises, you'll do role plays, you will do games, you will do value tests, and all of that, anything that you have put pen to paper is going to be part of your submission. So anything that has a pen mark on it from when you were in the formative section, please make sure that that is submitted with your summative assessment. Okay, there are going to be places where you're going to put in your marks. Okay, so you will be given marks. Make sure that you put all the score sheets in there and that you submit them with your summative assessment. So over here where it says core portfolio formative assessment section guidelines, read through it, and everything that you have gathered in the formative section, put together and submit with your summative assessment. There's also now a place for your development and your growth. We want to see not just you being competent, we also want to see you growing and developing. And the way to do that is to keep that link with your manager. Your manager is there to mentor you. Now, the workplace objective sheet is all about creating 3 objectives that you want to accomplish in the 3 months after the program. So you choose 3 objectives. So it could be anything like making meetings more value adding, or put together a planning project to reduce waste, or engaging with my team to bring to have more feedback from them. Okay, so you can choose any 3 objectives that you have gained. Okay, you've put together goals, you've put together different things that you want to achieve. Now you put them as part of your objectives. And so in the first line, it will say, what are the objectives that you have chosen? And you put down those 3 objectives. They'll then ask, what part of the formative section does this objective link to? So if it's meetings, you say meetings. If it's planning, you say planning. So we know that through the program, you have linked some kind of exercise to an objective that you want to achieve. Then you're going to schedule 3 meetings with your manager. So you'll see there, date of meeting 1, date of meeting 2, and date of meeting 3. You schedule 3 meetings. You sit with your diaries and you schedule 3 meetings. And then you decide that after each meeting, how close are you to achieving your objective? So it either says early days, on track, or done. Hopefully by the 3rd meeting, we will start to see that you have done all of your objectives. So just a way of keeping you accountable. At the bottom, it says, what value have you added to your organization through these objectives? So give us some tangible things. Maybe if you worked on time management, you've saved 4 hours a week. Or if you have done a planning project, I've saved my company 80,000 Rand. Or if you have meetings, you say, hey, our meetings are far more productive and we are finished within an hour instead of an hour and a half. So tell me the tangible return on investment that you have been able to make for your business because of the objectives that you have accomplished. And then at the bottom, there's space for the signature of your manager and for your signature. Again, there are courier details. So if you are going to courier anything through to NQ Plus, who are your assessors, there are your details. Their details over there on this page. And so use them to be able to engage with them and to send any material that you need to send. So what is the assessment scope? Now, for each subject or each concept that you cover during the core process, you will have unit standards that are aligned to them. When you prove that you are able to apply those different lessons and that you can tangibly do it in your workplace, you will then gain those credits. When you work with core, you are at what they call the NQF level 4 in a very focused management line. And if you are found competent, you will get 51 credits towards a generic management qualification. Now, if you go further into a learnership or into a diploma or into a degree, those 51 credits are very important in being able to fulfill that qualification. So 51 credits is what you will gain through the core process. Then there will be an assessment plan. So you'll see the assessment plan attached. Read through it. It gives you an overview of how the assessment process works and where your assessment might end up. And so read through that just to give you some general information about the assessment process. In your portfolio of evidence, there is color coding. And so you will see that there are different colors for different sections. Read through that. It's self-explanatory. It also just helps so that when you go through your portfolio of evidence, that you know which section is which. Okay, certain section for reference, certain section for documents that you're going to have to fill out, and certain sections that you are going to have to answer. So read through that. Then how to approach this assessment. We spoke a bit about it in the do's and don'ts. So do not use a red or green pen, only use a blue or black pen. Don't use pencil, don't use Tepics, and definitely don't copy. If we have to flag that there have been copied assessments, then it is a really bad reflection on you and anyone that you have copied from. So just be careful about that. Please make sure that you sign where you need to sign, okay? Also, if you have crossed things out, because this is a legal document, so cross it out and then sign above it, especially if it's on the compliance side, because then at least we know that you have made the changes and no one else has made those changes. If you don't have enough space to write your answer, then please do it on a blank piece of paper. All right, and then at the bottom of that blank piece of paper, please sign and date. So when you add it to your assessment, make sure at the bottom of each page you have a signature and you have a date. That makes sure that it is compliant and that is legally everything is in its place. Also, if you disagree with the assessor's assessment, you have the right to appeal. Please speak to your HR or to your manager, and they will then send us correspondence that say that you are making an appeal based on a certain question. And then we will then elevate that and see if we are wrong and you are right. So you have the right to appeal. So remember that you have 3 months to submit this portfolio of evidence. If anything happens in the interim where you need an extension, please make sure that your HR manager is informed about that. Your HR manager will then correspond with us and we will give them feedback in terms of a changed deadline. Okay, and then that will be communicated across. But please do not, in your personal capacity, contact us about extensions. It has to go through an HR manager. Also, please remember that all signatures need to be in place. So where we ask for a manager's signature or team members' signatures or your signature, please make sure that all the signatures are in place before submitting your assessment. Now we have a legal declaration. So you as the learner are going to declare that this is your work and that you are prepared to start the summative assessment and that you have everything you need in order to collect the evidence. So the learner declaration form is what you're going to have to fill out, ask for your name, and also ask for a witness. A witness needs to be there to make sure that you declare that you are able to do this, and the witness is then going to be your backup or your secondary to say, well, this person is ready to be assessed. So please put in your name, please put in a witness's name, date it, and then at the bottom is going to be both your signatures. If there is any barrier to this assessment, so it means if you don't have a team that is currently reporting into you and you need a team to be able to do your assessment, please write that in there. If you don't have access to a computer and you need your computer, please write that in there. If you are going to go through any medical operation and that's going to delay things, please put that in there. Any kind of special learning needs that you have, put that in there. So that guides us in terms of how to assess your portfolio. So please fill in the learner declaration. There's also now going to be a section which is about you. We need your personal particulars, okay? You need to fully complete this form so that we can put the credits that you earn onto your profile and no one else. So we rely on your information in order to make sure that we accurately upload your credits. So again, please make sure that you fill in this form, all of this form, as much as you possibly can. Then we need you to sign the privacy, consent, and declaration sections. We need to make sure that everything that you have written is confidential. It is not allowed to go anywhere else. And so we subscribe to that. So we need you to sign as well. Everything that you say is going to be between you and the assessor. It cannot go any further. Also, again, we will upload your profile to the SAQA framework, and we need to make sure that everything is correct so that we can upload it to your specific profile. Okay, then there's a second section, which is mainly tick box. It's about demographics. It is required from us, so please make sure that you go through this and answer it to the best of your ability. Okay, so that's the second part of the learner information that we require from you. All right, so now that we have your information, we are going to ask that you put together a summary CV of your accomplishments and your experience. So here is a summary CV. It is part of your portfolio. You can fill it in right there. Otherwise, if you do have a CV that you've already compiled, feel free to print it out and to add it as part of your assessment. Okay, just put it over this section so that we know that you have a CV there. Also, we require your highest qualification. So if that's a matric or a higher qualification, we require proof. So please have a certified copy attached. There's also a section that says if you do not have copies of your highest qualification, please circle that. So you'll see at the bottom it says, I do or I do not have copies of my qualifications. So if you do, please circle I do and attach them. If you do not, then just circle that and then sign at the bottom. Okay, so you've got to sign if you have qualifications or if you don't have qualifications, but please circle the correct thing. Yeah, so that's your summary CV. So please make sure that that is either filled in or you attach your own CV, but we also require the copies of your qualifications if you have them. If you do not have them, please just circle I do not have copies of my qualifications. And so the last little bit of information you require just before you start to actually answer the questions and put together your evidence, again, is the assessment team contact details. These are the guys that are going to be there to guide you, help you, and be your resource to make sure that you are properly ready to be assessed. And so please lean into them, ask them any questions. They are available to you anytime during office hours. And then from us at Diner Training, we wish you well along this journey. I hope it's not just about credits and about proving competency, but about growth and development. That's what we want to see, is that you develop your natural abilities in leadership and management. And so there's a long road ahead of you. Keep on growing, keep on challenging yourself, keep on risking so that you might really develop as much as you possibly can as a leader. And may this be a long road and may you get many qualifications in leadership and management along the way. We love to hear the stories of your success, and so engage with us. Keep on working with us. We've got lots of programs that you can use to eventually get that big qualification that you're looking for. And so from all of us here, good luck, best wishes, and don't forget about us when you reach the top.